Welcome to Weekly Top 5's Top 5 Games of the Week. Recap my thoughts about the top 5 games of the week. And the first one, here we are in beautiful Green Bay, Wisconsin, Lambeau Field. And they just keep adding more, huh? I heard 101,000 people were at the game. They're turning into a college stadium. I feel like it's Beaver Stadium in Penn State. If you haven't looked up Beaver Stadium, they just keep adding more decks. You can see these decks. They just keep adding more decks and decks and decks. Either way, let's talk about the number 5 game of the week, which, if you couldn't have guessed it by now, is the Green Bay Packers hosting the New England Patriots. I want to pull up some stats. Let's check it out. It was a close one. Went into overtime. The Packers won it in overtime with 0 time left. Almost went to a tie. I would have loved a tie. It's just, I love ties. They're a lot of fun. They really screw up the standings, and people really enjoy them. I've heard that ties are things that people like. And once again, I'm just going to quickly go into why don't they? I want to kick off. I want like where the kickers kick field goals to decide games, so no more ties. They can kick it from the 10, and then they go back and like kick it from the 20, and then you keep going back and see who they win. And then maybe at a certain point, if they like make it all at or they both miss it, then you got to like bring in 2 other players. I'm sorry, I'm not even talking about the game. We could talk about that in a different video, but this game was quite fun. First of all, the Green Bay Packers obliterated them in yards, and they should have won that game, but pick sixes, and Aaron Rodgers not playing like Aaron Rodgers. 21 for 35 is not very good. 1 interception, which for him happens like 3 times a year, which is unbelievable that he does it. But my favorite story of the game is Zappy coming in, because already injured Mac Jones was replaced by Brian Hoyer, who then was injured, which I feel like I always see him get injured. Whenever he comes into play, I feel like he gets injured. Anyway, and now we got Zappy playing. And my question is, next time, Brady, am I right? 10 for 15, 99, touchdown. Didn't throw a pick. Aaron Rodgers threw a pick. So Zappy's probably going to lead the Patriots to the Super Bowl this year, as Tom Brady did 20 years ago. But it's really exciting for them. Damian Harris, 18 for 86, 1 touchdown. Pretty good game for him. And they stayed in it. Terrible on third down. Okay in red zone. Not many offensive yards, not as many turnovers. But another aspect of the game that I thought was interesting was that non-touchdown. It doesn't matter at the end of the day because the Packers won anyways, but that non-touchdown, I don't know about the catches. If that was inbounds, if that was not inbounds, if that was on the field and not in the end zone, I believe it would be a catch. But they've decided to determine end zone catches and regular field catches as differently. The receiver catches the ball and tucks the ball into a running position and then falls down, and when he hits the ground, he's tackled to the ground in the end zone. When he hits the ground, the ball comes out. It's called back. Not a touchdown. I think the game should have ended there. I don't know. I mean, it's not as bad as the Des Bryant play, or the especially the Calvin Johnson play. Those were ridiculous. Those were catches, and when he catches the ball and you have time to like look away and be like, he caught it, he definitely caught it, and then they show you and it's like, no, dude, he caught it. Like, he had the ball for like an entire second. I don't know. It didn't matter anyways. The Packers win. I feel like it would have been a story if the Packers ended up losing that game, but it didn't. If it doesn't really affect the end of the game, no one really cares. So the Packers squeak away with another one. They've had a lot of close games besides the game against the Bears. They barely beat the Buccaneers, who, obviously they're the Buccaneers, and then the Patriots. Although the Packers 2 up, 2 down, the Belichick-Brady back-to-back. And, I picked them to win the division. I think they'll still win it, but there's something about Rodgers, something different about Rodgers. Maybe it's just early in the season. I'm cautious to say anything against what him and Tom Brady can actually do. You never know when time's going to show up on these players and when it's going to be like, that was weird. 2015 Peyton Manning, all of a sudden you just stopped performing. Like, the arm just couldn't make the throws, and then it seemed like his brain couldn't judge how far away people were because his arm didn't feel the same way. It just ends so abruptly sometimes. I don't think Rodgers is quite there yet, but this is another game where he didn't look spectacular. And he's been spectacular for his whole career. So maybe that's it. The game was the game was so close. It's unbelievable that the game was even close. A pick six that obviously helps hugely when you're a team, but they kept the ball in play and they kept scoring touchdowns. So we'll see how the Packers season goes. I think they'll still win the division, though. I think they'll come back and beat the Vikings. But it's only week 4. And so we're going to move on